Testing the audio. Testing, testing, testing. Testing.
Let beat drop in the arena and start a revolution.
Hello everybody, just kind of testing everything out. There will be a short echo because I'm just testing it out. When we actually begin it won't do that. But I'm just kind of testing to see how things look, how things sound, whether anything needs to be adjusted before we start. And we are doing tonight the 5 things to ensure success when learning the piano. So we will get started very shortly. And we'll go from there. So how's everybody doing today? Let me know in the chat if you feel like it. And we will get started shortly, so just hang in there. But I'm just kind of testing to see how things look, how things sound. One second, need a little adjustment here. I think that could be better. Let me take a look. It looks a bit better. It was a little bit too bright. I got some new lights on me today, so it should look a little more professional with the red background. It's a little different than our normal thing. And we will get started very shortly. So we'll start around 8 p.m. as I've stated before. So just let me know how you're doing in the comments if you feel like it, or in the chat. Feel free to say hello if it's your first time joining us. And if it is your first time joining us, thank you so much for coming, and hope to see you out at more of these. But it's totally up to you. And to reiterate, today we were talking about the 5 things to ensure success when learning piano. I'm doing great, everybody. Hello, William. If I'm saying your name correctly, I think I've seen you out here before. And then we have Chantel Rodriguez. You're doing good. Great to have you. And Rich is back. One of my favorite live stream attendees. Okay, we'll get started in a little bit. Let me know if it sounds bad or if anything is messed up so I can adjust it before we start. And just to let you know, sorry, I'm running over my own headphone cable here. And just to let you know, when I'm teaching the lesson, there might be times where I'm not looking at the chat. So if you ask a question and I don't get to it right away, don't worry. I'll get to it, when I have a little intermission in the middle, or maybe I'll just wait until the end of the lesson to get to it, just to let you know what's going on. Okay. Great, we got 8 people with us right now, and we'll get started in 1 minute, so just hang on there. Whoa. Okay, great. Okay, everybody, everything is looking pretty good. Michelle is back. Hello. Glad to have you with us tonight, Michelle. How have you been? Okay, let's see. Oh, we are at 8:01, so I'm going to get started here. Feel free to say hello if you're just stopping in with us, and I will get to you as soon as I'm done the lesson, or like I said, I might take a little break in between to kind of get some feedback or take some questions. So feel free to say hello in the meantime. So we'll get started here. So like I said in the beginning, we are doing the 5 things to ensure success when playing the piano. And you'll find that a lot of these things are really the core things I believe that will make you more successful at playing, which is something I think we all want, right? We all want to get the most out of the practice time that we spend. So this guide is a great way to do that. Okay, jumping right into the guide here, the very first thing, the very first element of success here is perseverance. That is number 1. I think it's even the most important, although number 4 is pretty important, as you will find. So perseverance, what do I mean by that? Well, not giving up, right? So what will happen when you start learning piano is you will start out and everything will go great, or at least it might. I mean, you might be frustrated right off the bat, but I can guarantee you somewhere within the first day to the first month or two, there's going to be a time where you feel frustrated, where you kind of make a goal to be able to play something and you don't quite meet that goal. So maybe in a month you say, okay, I want to be able to play Fur Elise. And hey, Fur Elise is a pretty tough song to play at the end of your very first month playing piano. So you might not make that. So the thing is, the number 1 thing is perseverance. You have to continue even if you don't meet your original goals, because at first, when you first start learning how to play the piano, you're not going to really know how long it's going to take you to learn something. That takes time to figure out. So if you at first don't make your goals that you make in the beginning, don't worry about that. Just keep pushing through. Just keep practicing. You may run into somebody who tells you you shouldn't be learning music for some reason. They might be crazy, or they may just not be supporting you in this endeavor. And don't worry about that either. Just persevere. Just keep going. Giving up is not an option when playing the piano. I put out a great lesson today, which I'll put in the description once this video is over. You can check it out, about strategies on not giving up to play the piano, and that ties in very perfectly with this number 1 here. One thing I want to say is some of the most rewarding points in my entire life were not when I got it right the first time and succeeded, it was when I failed and I kind of just picked myself up, re-strategized, kind of thought about the situation on how I could approach it a little differently, and then I tried again and knocked it out of the park. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen on the second try or the third try. You got to keep trying, but like I said, the most rewarding times of my life were times where I failed, I got back up, I tried again, and I really, really did really well on whatever I was trying to do. And it could go from anything from playing the piano to public speaking to a job interview or anything like that. So this perseverance can be applied to almost every aspect of life. So the reward isn't always just success, right? I think the biggest reward for me is getting through tough times. Like I said, you just got to keep going, and the harder of times you can get through, the more rewarding it'll be when you finally get through the other end and finally achieve success. Success is not a straight line like a lot of people might think it is. Success is a very darted line all over the place. In fact, when I'm editing this, I'll put up a very good picture of what I'm talking about. So the key is perseverance. If you can persevere, you can make it through all the tangles and all the ways the path of success may divert you on. So just keep going at it. So you want to try again. I want to tell you a story in that when I was going to college for music, Westchester University School of Music, there was a course called Arles 2. And I failed, I'm serious about this, I failed Arles 2 like 3 or 4 times. I think it was maybe 4 times. You're only allowed to fail a single class 5 times. I only had one more try to do it, but I stuck with it. On that last try, I finally got a B in the course, enough to pass. Actually, you had to get above a C plus, I think, to move beyond that course. That's why it was so hard to pass, because it wasn't just getting above an F. You had to get above a C plus, and it was a really hard concept for me to get a hold of Arles, which, if you don't know, is just not playing by ear, but hearing things and be able to write things that you hear down. It's very difficult if you've never done it before. It was very difficult for me, so I tried. I felt really defeated, but the biggest reward I got was, the very last time I took it, I finally did it, and I finally got through it. And then I actually passed all the other Arles courses. I think there's 4 in total. I passed those without much trouble, and then I got through the rest of the program without a whole lot of trouble. That was my number one course that I struggle with, and I just persevered, and it worked out. Sometimes things don't work out perfectly every time. I could have taken it that 5th time and failed, but then I would have just kind of re-strategized and figured something else out and just kept trying at my goal. The second key thing is practice time. That is the second biggest element in your success as a piano student or a music student. So, are you putting in the correct amount of time to practice? And what I mean by that is not 3 hours one day a week. It's a lot better to practice, say, 15 minutes over 7 days as it is to practice 3 hours in one day. Now, why is that? Well, when you practice a little bit every day, your brain can latch onto that information so much better than if you have a cram session, maybe one time right before your lesson, or just, once a week, the only day you can get in. Now, realistically, you're not going to be able to practice every single day of your life. Or you may even, have a full-time job, run a business or something like that, and only have 3 days a week to practice. Well, that's okay. So long as you stick to those 3 days, those 5 days, those 7 days, as close to 7 days as possible is by far the best. The more of a regular schedule you can keep, the more higher of a level of success you can achieve, and more likely by far it'll be that you'll be successful. So no matter, you want to come up with a practice time that fits your life and your schedule. If you can only practice 3 days a week, it doesn't mean you can't learn piano. It just means you only have 3 days a week to practice. But you want to be consistent about it. Or if you have all 7 days to practice, you want to be consistent about it and practice. Is to start out especially at the same time every day. Treat it like brushing your teeth. Treat it like taking a shower. Treat it like going to work or school, where you will actually get in trouble if you don't do it. So fit it in. Don't make any excuses. Maybe if you're real sick or you're taking care of somebody or something else that day, that's fine. Like I said, realistically, things come up in our life. But you really, over a long period of time, want to be consistent about your practice. You want to put in time as close to 7 days a week as you can, but realistically as many days a week as you can. What you don't want is to go weeks or months without practicing and then picking it up for a while and then letting it go and then picking it up. You'll make a little bit of progress like that, but your overall success in the long run will be greatly diminished. So make sure to find that regular practice time and fit it in. Number 3 is an important one, right? And that is, you need a learning resource. What do I mean by this? Well, a learning resource can be a lot of things. It can be a teacher, right? It's great to have a teacher if you can afford a private one, one-on-one, or if you have a teacher at school that can teach you music. Hey, that's great. Those are both, well, it's really one thing. Those teachers are a great learning resource. What if you can't find a private lessons teacher? Well, you're on the right YouTube channel for that, right? So you can get on YouTube, look up some videos, maybe take an online course, maybe, get a Skype lesson in with a certain teacher or a 10-day live stream. those are all learning resources as well, or even reading a website or signing up for a website. Those are all learning resources as well. There's a lot of free stuff out there online. Some of the stuff you pay for is worth the money, but it really depends on what your goals are and what the resource is, right? So, another great resource is, or are, books. You can get a lesson book like Alfred's Adult Series. I'll put it in the description. Or some other great piano series are like Faber's Piano Adventures, although they're more towards kids and young adults. There's some great songs in there, though. So you might want to go that route no matter what. And then there's like John Thompson's series. There's a bunch of others. So if you can think of a great piano lesson series that you love, or that you know that is good, put it down in the comments. I would really like to hear about it so we can share it all together and, get the most out of this experience as a community. You also want to get a book about scales and arpeggios. Also, all this stuff, once you're done with the lesson, go to the description and all these resources will be there for you. You want a book of scales and arpeggios, and you want to go through these. You may want to practice and learn one scale a week until you learn them all, and one arpeggio a week until you learn them all. And really, this will help you develop dexterity and develop hand position and all that stuff. So even though a lesson book's great, a teacher's great, you want to practice what we call like the rudimentary kind of things. They are not the most exciting things to practice. Some people like practicing scales. I've met a few, but most people do not. And in fact, most people shy away from them. Do not shy away from scales. And you also probably want to find like an exercise book, like hand and exercises. You can find those online. Again, I'll include that in the information in the description. But or what's the other one? I'm totally blanking on the other one. What is it? Hannon and Czerny. You want to get a Czerny book as well, if possible. But you at least want one primary resource to learn. You want one of those, and then you want, maybe like a scale book or something like that to give you a little more practice. So as you can see, there's a lot of resources to learn out there. Thank goodness for the internet. It really makes things a lot easier and a lot more accessible for people wanting to learn music. The number 4 important thing, believe it or not, you ready for it? Drum roll, is an instrument. You need an instrument. So whether you're playing piano or trumpet, or xylophone, or guitar, bass guitar, or any of those, you need an instrument, right? So I'm going to talk about it in terms of piano, but I do know that if you go on Amazon or eBay, you can pick up a guitar for relatively cheap, a beginner's guitar, but we're going to talk about piano. So for piano, for my suggestions for you, is to get a piano with at least 61 keys. As close to 88 keys as you possibly can get, the better. Now, there's a bunch of options when talking about pianos. You can talk about a real acoustical piano, and those sound great. The downsides to that is that those need to be tuned every so often. The other downside is that they're even uprights or grand pianos, they're very big. You need a lot of space to put them, and you probably are going to need somebody to help you move a piano into your home or your apartment or wherever you may live. And it's just not as practical as the next option, which is to get a keyboard or digital piano. Now, there's a kind of a difference. A digital stage piano or a digital piano is more of a professional piano, right, or a keyboard. It usually has weighted keys. The keys usually feel real nice. These are usually the more expensive ones, and they are pretty good even for practicing. I have one here. I have a Roland RD700SX. I got it 12 years ago. Still works really great. So when you buy one of these, for the most part, like if you buy a Roland or one of the higher end ones, they will last you a long time, especially if you get the 88 keys. Like I said, though, they're more expensive. Something you might want to consider if you don't have enough money or as much money is a regular keyboard, right? So even if you get a regular keyboard, which are like the kind of mid to lower level ones, you want to make sure it has weighted keys. That's probably the most important thing. There's a bunch of Yamahas with weighted keys, and those work out just great. Even if they're not 88 keys, if you can get like a 76 key, that'd be wonderful. But like I said, a minimum of like 61 keys. If you have a few less than that, I guess you could manage as a beginner. But you really want to shoot for as close to 88 keys as possible. So what kind of instrument or piano are you playing on? Feel free to share with us in the comments because I would really love to know. And that way we can kind of get an idea on what good instruments are out there, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this right now from home or school or wherever you may be watching thinking, I really need a piano and I don't know which ones are good. Or if you have a question about whether the piano you have your eye on is any good, let me know and I can take a quick look at for you and just kind of give you, maybe some of the ups and downs, the positives and negatives of the instrument that you choose. So feel free to leave that in the comments. I would love to hear from you. The number 5 essential thing isn't quite as obvious. I wanted to kind of put the instrument before the very last one. Really because that one's more obvious, even though the instrument's probably even more important than this. But you need support. Support is number 5 in our list of essential things to be a successful musician. Now, the number 1 supporter in your life, the number 1 supporter for you to learn music should be your parents. That's important, but not really. That's not number 1. What about your friends? Again, not number 1. Oh, what about anybody other than yourself? So what I'm getting at is that you are the number 1 supporter for playing the piano. You have to be behind yourself playing the piano because, like I said, you will run across all kinds of people in this world, and you might even run across negative people who tell you you're just not cut out for this, or playing piano is going to be hard, right? Or I just don't think you can do that sort of thing. So be your biggest supporter. Ignore everybody. Ignore all the naysayers who tell you that you can't do it. You can do it, and I believe you can. But the most important person that needs to believe that you can is you. Now, moving on from that, some other important areas of support where you can draw support from. By the way, what I mean by support is really just encouragement or good vibes, I guess, as some people say. So some other people you can get support from are your parents, are your friends, are your teachers. Teachers are a really good support system. I mean, if there's a music teacher that doesn't support you playing music, you need to fire them. or you need to find a new music teacher, because the number 1 teacher's goal, really, hopefully, I would think, is to inspire others so that they can continue learning both with other teachers and on their own. So if you run into a teacher that does not support you, you probably want to find a new one. And again, online is a great place for support. There are subreddits. If you don't know about Reddit, it's like an article website that you share content on, and you can go through and leave comments for each other. Say, get on there. There's a subreddit called Learn Music. You go there and you can say, hey, I'm having a little bit of trouble learning this or learning that. And there will be a bunch of people there to help you. You can also find forums online. There's a forum called pianoworld.com and on other websites where you can go in and ask questions or ask for support, and people will encourage you. At least hopefully they will. We all know there's different kinds of people here on the internet. But the internet is another great place to get some support from, especially if you don't get it from those very close around you. But remember, who's the number 1 supporter? Who has to be number 1 behind you? That's you. Remember that. If you can keep that in mind, you can succeed no matter what other people tell you, or you will be able to achieve some level of success. Not all of us, myself included, are not made out to be world-class pianists playing in Carnegie Hall or something like that. Now, if I had a million hours a day to practice for that, maybe I could do it. But I think my life and the way I do things is more geared towards teaching. So I have achieved success in playing the piano, but I'm not like the most proficient person, the most masterful at playing piano. I'm very good, I would say, but you know, you don't have to be the best in the world, but if you believe in yourself, you can achieve the level of success that you want as long as it's fairly reasonable. All right, everybody in the chat, that does it for today. I mean, in terms of the actual core lesson of the 5 things we need to be successful at learning piano. Remember that they are perseverance, practice time, learning, and a music resource. You need a learning resource. 4, what was number 4? 4 was you need a piano, right? Or an instrument, whatever you may decide to play. And 5, you need support. The number 1 supporter is you. Remember that. Okay, I'm going to get to everybody's comments here in a second. Let me do this really quick. Okay, everybody, a little bit of a quiz time here for you today. Are you ready? Now, what quiz time is all about is I ask you a question about the lesson, and you answer, and if you can answer these questions right, you understand all the important things that have to go along with this lesson. So question number 1 is, what are the 5 elements of being successful in learning music or learning how to play the piano? Question number 2 is, how often should you practice? Should you practice a lot all at once, or is it better to practice a little bit over a longer period of time? And then the final question is, who is your number 1 supporter? Who has to believe in you more than anybody else? So how did you do? Did you get the questions right? If you did, you understand this lesson pretty well. If not, keep watching. Watch over the lesson again to kind of review these topics. It's something that will sink in with you over time. Oh, Gail missed it. No! Okay, everybody, I am going to, hold on. So Gail is a little bit late, so that's not a problem. So let me get this whole thing sorted out, because I want to be able to see everybody's comments. There we go. Okay, so Gail, the recording will be posted probably next week, probably next Friday at 2 p.m. because I'll edit this together, make a real nice intro for it and things like that. And then you can watch it then. Also, I think you're practicing. Well, that's good. That's good. So you're getting in number 2 on our list, which was practice time. So there will be a recording of this posted, not right away, but next week once I make some edits to it, edit out, a little bit of the fluff, put in some nice things in there, so it's a very nice, well to put together lesson. But great to have you with us. I remember you said you would make it here, but I'm glad you made it at least at the tail end. Let me go through everybody's comments. Okay, here we go. So a lot of people have joined us. Sandeep is back again. So Sandeep, hello. Great to have you with us once again. We have Jezebel. I know we had you before. Welcome back. I'm really glad to have that you could make it out to another one of these. And hello to you. YouTube is the perfect piano teacher, says Emmanuel. I kind of agree. YouTube is a great piano teacher, especially if you can't afford a personal piano teacher or private piano teacher. If you ever get the chance to get one, I suggest at least getting a few lessons because those are useful in getting some feedback. And then if you could take some, other courses online, if you really want to take it to the next level, you can do that as well. But I agree, YouTube is a great one. Sandeep says, I think I'm the only person in India who is taking lessons at 5 a.m. Is that what you said? Yamaha, Rich says, and me and Rich have talked about this keyboard before. The Yamaha YPG 535 is a very good keyboard. I agree. And William says, mine is an upright digital piano, 88 keys. Sylvania AP650B. It's a Casio. Okay, so Casios are alright, especially if you get the 88 key one. Great. And it's a really amazing instrument. Good. What about Yamaha 433? Let me look this up for us really quick so we can kind of chat about it. Let me bring up, hold on. Let me bring this back up for us. So it is Yamaha 433. So let's look up that, and I can tell you what I think about it right now. Is that a keyboard? It's coming up with trumpet here. Okay, it looks like it's a keyboard. Is it the E433? Let's see. Well, let's look at the Amazon. Amazon's always good. So, are you talking about this one, the Yamaha PSR Series 61 key portable grand? If this is the one, I can tell you right now, 61 keys, so it meets the minimum for the amount of keys you want. It could be better. It could be closer to 88, but not bad. Pattern function to create your own grooves. Okay, so that's maybe a nice little, if you're into mixing, not mixing, but like producing music, and you want to kind of just first get into it, that might be kind of cool. Real-time control knobs for instant effects. So again, it might be kind of cool. So this is more of what I call like a synthesizer. It's probably not the best to get really good at piano on, but don't get me wrong, you can certainly learn the basics of playing piano and learn. You could probably play for Elise on this thing, and maybe beginner to intermediate it will carry you through. If you ever get advanced and want to get really good, you'll want to upgrade. But this one isn't so bad. So it's more I call it a synthesizer because it's not so much because the stage piano is really built on the feel of the piano. These are more built for creating sound. So that's why it has like the control knobs. That's why it has all these little features. So if you're kind of interested in that thing, like recording tracks or putting effects on things, this might be the way to go for you. It depends on what your goals are again. If you want to get really good at piano, I mean, this thing will carry you through the beginning, but you might want to upgrade at some point. Okay, BGFFG. Sorry, typo. Okay. I have an E353 digital Yamaha keyboard. Okay, so you have this one. This is another 61 key. Okay, so it has like the minimum amount you want, but it still has it, so it's not a bad choice. This one's very similar to some of the other keyboards I've seen in my life. And Yamaha makes pretty good keyboards, even if they're the lower end ones or the more expensive ones. These aren't bad. This is $179. So if you're on a budget, getting this one is I was gonna say no brainer. You might want to look at some other options first, but getting this one wouldn't be so bad because it's really on a lower budget. $180 for a keyboard really isn't that bad. My keyboard, when it was new, it doesn't cost nearly as much today. I think it was around $2,400, $2,400. So that was really expensive at the time. I mean, it still is expensive, but obviously it's not. I think you can get a used one of these for maybe $1,000. But 179 is under 200, so it'd be a good budget piano, and it has the minimum amount of keys. Touch sensitive keys, so that's good. What that means is that when you press the piano soft, it plays soft. When you press the piano loud, it plays loud. So you really do want that. That is a good thing to have. It has some other neat features as well. So that one's not bad. You know, you can definitely learn piano on that one. Okay. Digital keyboard. Digital keyboard Yamaha PSRE 433. Okay, that's what it is. PSRE. Yep, so that's the one. Williams Overture Digital 88 key. It has 88 keys, so it's probably pretty good. I'm not entirely familiar with Williams Overture. Can you explain exactly what a synthesizer is in layman's terms, says Rich. It looks like a regular keyboard to me. What's the difference? They are. So both the stage piano, which is closer to what you have, you don't have really a synthesizer. They look almost identical. First of all, synthesizers can be 88 keys, but they're generally a bit smaller. And what they are is they're not for people to develop piano technique. So a lot of times they don't even have weighted keys. They're like the hollow plastic keys. So it's not really built for becoming a good piano player. It's built for, like I said before, creating sound. So what you'll find on a lot of synthesizers is they have a lot of effects. They have a lot of knobs on them. They have a lot of like instruments and things like that because they're synthesizing sound. Now, stage piano does that too. It synthesizes the sound because there's no strings vibrating in your keyboard, your digital piano. But a digital piano is more of a piano, and the synthesizer is meant to create wacky sounds. If you're like a music producer, you might have both. You might have a digital piano, but you also might have a synthesizer as well to make different kinds of sounds. Like if you were a rap artist or something, or like I said, just a music producer. Casio CT770. Let's take a look. By the way, everybody, if you want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I guess you like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. I'm not telling you that just to do it. The reason behind you want to do that is that if I ever have to cancel the live stream, that's where I'm putting up the notice. So if you ever show up and you're like, I could be, because last week I had some kind of technical issue, which I was late about, so I let everybody know on Facebook and Twitter so they knew to still hang around. But if I have to cancel or something last minute or cancel a little bit before, I will let you know through social media. So you want to kind of follow me there just so you know what's going on if you like these live courses we have. Casio CT. Jaga always says sup ladies. I love it. Casio CT770. I'm not seeing it here. I see the power adapter. Yeah, I don't know. Is this it? Well, if you can tell me how many keys it has, I can tell you if it's good or not. So remember, 61's good. 76 is great. 88 is the best. Rich says, sorry. So, Yohav, if I'm pronouncing your name right, you say, do you recommend Synthesia to learn piano? No. To have fun? Sort of. It's kind of, if you don't know what Synthesia is, it's like a Guitar Hero game where like the bars, colored bars come down and then you play the songs like that. If you want to learn, if you're not really interested in learning how to play piano and how it works and how music theory works and how it's all put together and being able to learn songs on your own, Synthesia's fine. Like if you want to learn just for release and you don't want to go through learning all the lessons behind playing the piano, then it's okay. And it's okay as a game. Like if you're like, I just kind of want to have some fun tonight, it's okay for that. In terms of playing piano long term, I do not recommend it. And the reason why is that it does not really teach you how to play piano. It could be okay at first, like kind of just getting your hands around the keys, but I certainly don't recommend it. It's really important that to be a good piano player, you have to be able to learn music on your own at some point. At first, you're not going to be able to. At first, you're going to need all the advice in the world. But as you get better and better, you want to go to a point where you can say, oh, hey, I want to learn the Mickey theme from Rocky. So you can say, all right, I'm going to do it. Now, you might not be perfect at it, but if you know how to read the music, a little bit about theory, a little bit about 9/8 time signature, or whatever time signature the piece happens to be in, and 16th notes and all that stuff, you can actually learn how to play songs on your own. Rich says, so a lot of pop songs are made with synthesizers rather than regular keyboards. Yes and no. It depends on the pop song. Excuse me there, having some allergy problems here. A lot of pop songs and stuff are made here's the thing. They might be first crafted out on the piano. So what I do when I write music, we've gone over this a little bit before, is I kind of come with a chord progression. And then something like that. And then what I would do is I would kind of play around with that on the piano and then either hook up a synthesizer to the computer or the keyboard to the computer, and then I can input the information that way. Or I can literally go over the computer and click or type on the keyboard little shortcuts on where to put these notes. So some pop songs could be written entirely on a computer with touching not a keyboard at all. But chances are a lot of music producers, they have synthesizers that they use to make sounds. Yes, for pop songs, maybe rap songs would probably be a good one. Sorry, like I said, allergies. I'll probably sneeze here in a second. Sorry about that. Ugh. Okay. Yohav says, okay, but I never know the finger's position. Do you have some tips? Tip 1. Look at the first note of the song. Is the first note of the song a C, an E, a G, an A flat, or whatever? And then look at if the song tells you what finger is it telling you to play on that note. So for example, say the first note of my song is a C. I don't have the keyword set up tonight where you can see it, but so imagine, or if you have your keyboard in front of you, put finger 3, and say it says C, right, middle C, and it has a 3 above it. That's telling you, if it's written up in treble clef, that you're going to be playing middle C with your middle finger there, and then you're going to lay the rest of your fingers along the rest of the notes. And that's your hand position. It's a little trickier than that. I'm going to make a lesson at some point talking just about that. So I'll set up the keyboard, I'll explain it in more detail, things like that. But thank you for letting me know that, because that is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'll make sure that we plan that in to get that lesson made for you and for everybody else. So hold on, just hold on, everybody. I'm gonna go below my nose here. Okay, back again. Liz N says 61 keys. Good. So 61 keys, if you have that, is a good keyboard and should suit you pretty well. By the way, if it's your first time here, we do meet most Fridays and most Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know the schedule for when we do meet and the topics we'll cover, you want to go to lessonsontheweb.com/community. And that will take you to the schedule where you can see exactly what we're talking about on what day and what days we have off, because every once in a while I take off to kind of plan for other ones. So we do that. And you're always welcome to come back. I always love if I see your name like in a live stream and then I see it come again, in another live stream, you comment again. I will definitely 99% of the time remember you, especially if you come to more than like two. If you start coming to like three or more, I'll say, oh hey, it's Molly. Oh hey, it's Rich. Oh hey, it is Liz or Yohav or Jaga, who has been in the stream before. So feel free to say hello. I always love to see new and recurring faces. It's always good. And I assume if you're here right now, you're probably subscribed to the channel. You want to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because we come out with new videos every Tuesday at... Not Tuesday. Why do I keep saying that? I said that earlier today. We come out with new videos every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I should do a piano lesson app. I agree. I actually have a music academy on my website. I have a music academy on my website full of 15, actually more than 15. I think there's like 17 courses that I made, and they cover playing the piano. There's like 5 levels of playing the piano. If you include an introduction, that's 6. And then you have music theory. There's like 4 classes on that. There's composition classes. There's sight reading classes. There's ear training classes. There's improvisation classes. There's all kinds of rhythm classes. So there's a ton of stuff there. And if you really want to know what it is, it's a collection of extra videos I made. I actually may have made a ton more videos than I have on the channel. And they are over on that website, along with playing examples, all sorts of things. So if you want to check that out, it's just lessonsontheweb.com. Whenever you get a chance, take a look. But I have thought about making a piano app. The next thing I'm probably going to do is make an ebook that I'll put up on my website that you can download, and then you can print that out and then, use that as a piano lesson book, which we were talking about earlier today. Guest interviews. Yes, Rich. Are you still playing a podcast? Yes. I can't tell you how far along I am in the process, though. There's a lot of things I'm working on still. Definitely still in the plan, though. Hold on. Give me another second. I need to blow my nose again. Sorry. So yes, I'm still working on the podcast. If you want to know Rich is kind of in on it already. So basically with this podcast, what we would do is first of all, we'd come up with topics like we talk about in the live stream, except I'd have a guest on, and me and the guest would talk about those topics for, maybe an hour or so, just to kind of give you some extra perspectives. And then I would post a audio recording of that somewhere that you could download, maybe on iTunes. What we could do is I could actually turn these live streams themselves into a podcast and then have guests on every once in a while. I was thinking about that because topics like what we talked about today, the 5 elements of success when you're playing piano, that would make a great podcast. The piano lessons themselves can't be done because you need to see, what I'm playing on the piano. But in terms of like this discussion style kind of thing, that would be perfect. The Tunero app is great. I love that. Yeah, that is a really good one. Okay, we are at 8:45, so we're going to do some last minute questions, then I'm going to call it a night, and then we'll meet again. The next one we have, live stream, is on Sunday. Now, I'm like 90% sure we're going to have it. I am going out for dinner that night. I should be back in time for it. Shouldn't be a problem. But if I'm not, I'll try to make like a tweet really quick or a Facebook post saying it's canceled, but I'm 90% sure we're going to do it. and I don't remember what it's on. Hold on a second. The next live stream is on it's a community spotlight, so I might do a Skype call with Rich or somebody else. I haven't really thought about it much yet. It will kind of be more of an impromptu thing because I won't have a whole lot of time to write up a script or anything. But we'll talk about what are your goals as a pianist, where we can share together so we can kind of come up with a strategy on doing really well at playing the piano. So before we go, I'll give it another few minutes. We're not packing up this second, but I just want to tell you that this channel is all about helping you learn piano music, whether it's your dream to learn piano or it's just something, somebody is encouraging you to do or you're encouraging yourself to do. If it's your dream, then this channel's for you. We really cover a lot of things for beginners on this channel. So if you haven't seen my Learn to Play Piano series, I really suggest you watch that because that'll work you through all the way at the beginning up till now. We also do lessons like this one where you don't really need to know piano to get something out of it. There are more lessons for achieving success, things like that. So it's really helping you start learning piano and kind of getting up into maybe the early intermediate and just giving you the basic things you need to be successful at playing the piano. And if you're ever serious about intermediate or advanced piano or theory or anything like that, becoming a real musician, you really want to head over to my website, lessonsontheweb.com, I mentioned before, where I have a whole ton of courses and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, there's a piano practice gallery, like a piano practice tool and things like that, which I'll show you in another video. Okay, let me go back. Alright everybody, if there's no last minute questions, we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for attending the live stream. I think it was a great discussion. We got to talk about some keyboards together. Whether they're good or not, I got to answer some questions. And we got to talk about the 5 elements of success when learning piano or learning music, which will come in handy. Just remember, the biggest supporter that you need, the biggest pillar of support you need when you're learning to play piano is yourself. Remember to encourage yourself no matter what other people say around you. I mean, if they're saying positive things, great. But if somebody's discouraging you from playing piano, just forget about them. And, really, if it's something you really want to do, really want to pursue, go for it and be your biggest cheerleader, biggest, number one fan. Alright everybody, I'm going to call it a night here. If you want to leave a last minute comment or question, I'll probably see it on my way out here. If not, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you on Sunday, but I'll also talk to you through the channel, making videos and things like that. And then we'll also have another live stream the same time as right now, 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. here for me. Whatever it was 50 minutes ago for you, next Friday, that's when we start. So it's been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next lesson. I'm about to sneeze. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, Dean, you made it at the last minute here. So we're closing up for today. There will be a recording of this live stream posted pretty soon. And like I was telling everybody, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, really, because if I ever have to cancel or anything, the live stream, I'll let you know through there. And thank you, Jezebel. Thank you, Jaga. Thank you, everybody. I hope my allergies do get better. I'm sure they will. I think it's just because I'm downstairs and it rained a little bit today. That always gives me a little bit of trouble. But, sorry you made it at the last minute, Dean, but there will be a recording posted later, so take a look at that. We talked about the 5 elements of success when learning piano. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you in the next video.